Let them doubt you. Use rejection and criticism as fuel for success. By T.M. Light. Description: discover how to turn doubt, rejection and criticism into powerful fuel for success in this motivational guide. It teaches you how to build confidence, develop an unshakable mindset, and stay focused even when no one believes in you. Learn how to overcome fear of judgment, break free from approval seeking, and create results that speak for themselves. Packed with powerful insights on resilience, discipline, and self-belief, this book helps you transform negativity into growth. Perfect for anyone seeking personal development, success, and mental strength, it empowers you to rise above doubt and unlock your true potential. Chapter Outline. Introduction: When doubt becomes your advantage. Chapter 1: The reality of being doubted. Chapter 2: Why rejection hurts and why it matters. Chapter 3: The hidden power of being underestimated. Chapter 4: Turning criticism into clarity. Chapter 5: Breaking free from the need for approval. Chapter 6: Building an unshakable mindset. Chapter 7: Using doubt as motivation. Chapter 8: Creating results that speak for themselves. Chapter 9: Staying focused when no one believes in you. Chapter 10: Becoming the person they didn't expect. Conclusion: Let them doubt you, keep moving. Introduction: When doubt becomes your advantage. There is a moment in life that almost everyone experiences, though it rarely gets talked about openly. It is the moment when someone looks at you, your dreams, your ambitions, your potential, and quietly decides that you are not enough. They may not always say it out loud, but you feel it. In their tone, in their hesitation, in the way they doubt your ability to succeed. Sometimes it is subtle. Other times, it is direct and undeniable. And in that moment, something inside you reacts. For some, it becomes discouragement. For others, it becomes anger. And for many, it becomes doubt, not just from others, but within themselves. You begin to question your path. You begin to wonder if they are right. You begin to shrink your vision to match their expectations. But what if that moment is not a setback? What if it is an advantage? What if being doubted is not something that holds you back, but something that sets you free? Most people spend their lives trying to be believed. They seek approval, validation, and recognition from others before they even begin. They want reassurance that they are capable, that they are good enough, that their dreams make sense. But here is the truth that many never realize. The moment you stop needing approval is the moment you gain your power. When people doubt you, they unintentionally remove the pressure of expectation. They are not watching you closely. They are not expecting you to succeed. They are not placing you under a microscope, waiting to judge your every move. And that creates something powerful. Freedom. Freedom to try without fear of disappointing others. Freedom to make mistakes without being constantly scrutinized. Freedom to grow without the weight of expectations holding you back. When no one expects you to succeed, you are free to become dangerous. Because now, your journey is no longer about proving something to others. It becomes about building something within yourself. Doubt, rejection, and criticism are often seen as barriers. They feel like walls placed in your path, blocking your progress. But in reality, they are filters. They reveal who truly supports you, and who does not. They show you how strong your belief in yourself really is. And most importantly, they challenge you to decide whether your dreams depend on external validation or internal conviction. This is where the shift begins. You stop asking, "Why don't they believe in me?" And you start asking, "Do I believe in myself enough to keep going anyway?" Because at the end of the day, it is not their belief that determines your outcome. It is yours. Every successful person you admire has faced doubt. They have been underestimated, overlooked and criticized. People questioned their abilities, their decisions, and their direction. Some were told they would fail. Others were ignored completely. But they did not stop. Not because they had more support, but because they built stronger belief. They understood something that most people do not. Other people's opinions are reflections of their perspective, not your potential. Someone may doubt you because they cannot see what you see. They may criticize you because they do not understand your vision. They may reject you because they are limited by their own fears, their own experiences, or their own expectations. But none of that defines you. It only defines how they see the world. Your potential is not something that needs permission. It is something that needs action. And this is where this journey begins. This book is not about avoiding doubt, rejection, or criticism. It is about learning how to use them. It is about taking what was meant to discourage you and turning it into something that drives you forward. Because negativity, when handled correctly, can become fuel. Fuel for growth. Fuel for discipline. Fuel for resilience. Every time someone doubts you, you are given a choice. You can let it weaken you, or you can let it push you. You can internalize it as a limitation, or you can use it as motivation. That choice determines everything. It determines how you respond to challenges. It determines how you see yourself. And it determines how far you are willing to go. There will be moments when doubt feels heavy. Moments when rejection feels personal. Moments when criticism makes you question your path. That is part of the journey. But those moments are not meant to stop you. They are meant to strengthen you. They are meant to force you to build something deeper than external validation. They are meant to push you to develop a level of belief that does not depend on anyone else's opinion. Because when your belief comes from within, it becomes unshakable. You no longer need reassurance. You no longer wait for approval. You no longer slow down because someone else does not see your vision. You move forward anyway. And that is where real power lies. In the ability to keep going, even when no one else believes in you. In the ability to trust yourself, even when others doubt you. In the ability to stay focused, even when you are misunderstood. This is not easy. But it is worth it. Because the path you are choosing is not one that depends on comfort. It is one that builds strength. It is one that builds resilience. It is one that transforms you into someone who is not easily shaken by opinions, setbacks or challenges. And as you move through this journey, you will begin to see something clearly. Doubt is not your obstacle. It is your opportunity. Rejection is not your failure. It is your redirection. Criticism is not your weakness. It is your test. And when you learn how to use these experiences, instead of being controlled by them, you step into a new level of growth. A level where your progress is no longer determined by what others think. A level where your focus is no longer divided by the need for approval. A level where your actions are driven by purpose, not permission. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to become who you are meant to be. So let them doubt you. Let them question you. Let them underestimate you. Because while they are forming opinions, you are building something real. And in the end, it will not be their words that define you. It will be your results. This is where your journey begins. Not by seeking belief from others, but by choosing to believe in yourself. Chapter 1: The Reality of Being Doubted. There is something deeply uncomfortable about being doubted. It does not just challenge your plans, it challenges your identity. When someone questions your ability, your vision, or your potential, it can feel like a direct attack on who you are. It can make you pause, hesitate, and even second-guess yourself. But what you must understand is this. Being doubted is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is often a sign that you are on a path that others do not understand. Every meaningful pursuit, every bold decision, and every ambitious goal carries one unavoidable companion: doubt from others. It is part of the process. It is part of stepping outside what is familiar, what is expected, and what is considered safe. The moment you choose to do something different, something bigger, or something uncertain, you will be doubted. Not because you are incapable, but because you are stepping beyond what others are comfortable with. Most people live within boundaries that feel predictable. They follow paths that have already been proven, make choices that feel secure, and avoid risks that might lead to failure. When you step outside those boundaries, it challenges their perspective. And when people are confronted with something unfamiliar, their first reaction is often doubt. Not always because they want to hold you back, but because they do not know how to process what you are trying to do. Doubt often comes from fear. Sometimes it is their fear. When someone sees you pursuing something bold, it can remind them of the risks they avoided, the dreams they did not chase, or the chances they did not take. Your ambition can reflect back to them the limitations they have accepted in their own lives. And instead of questioning those limitations, they question you. They say things like, "Are you sure this will work?" or "That seems unrealistic," or "Maybe you should be more practical." But what they are really expressing is uncertainty. Not about your potential, but about what they believe is possible. Other times doubt comes from projection. People project their own experiences onto you. If they have tried something and failed, they may assume you will have the same outcome. If they have struggled in a certain area, they may believe that struggle is inevitable for you as well. They are not seeing your journey clearly. They are seeing it through the lens of their own past. And that lens is limited. It does not account for your strengths, your mindset, your effort, or your unique path. It is simply a reflection of what they have experienced. Doubt can also come from misunderstanding. When you have a vision, it exists clearly in your mind. You can see where you are going. You can feel the possibility. You understand the steps, even if they are not fully mapped out yet. But others do not have access to that internal clarity. They see only what is visible. They see the starting point, not the destination. They see the risk, not the potential. They see the uncertainty, not the belief. And because they cannot fully understand your vision, they question it. But their inability to see what you see does not make it invalid. It simply means they are not on the same path. This is one of the most important realizations you can have. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will believe in your vision. And that is okay. Because your success does not depend on their understanding. It depends on your commitment. Being doubted is not an exception. It is a reality. It happens to people at every level. The most successful individuals in the world were once doubted. They were told their ideas would not work, that their goals were unrealistic, that their efforts were pointless. Some were rejected repeatedly. Some were ignored. Some were criticized openly. But they continued. Not because they were free from doubt, but because they did not allow doubt to define them. They understood that doubt is part of the journey, not a verdict on their potential. And this is where your perspective must shift. Instead of seeing doubt as something negative, you begin to see it as something neutral. It is simply an opinion. It is not a fact. It is not a final judgment. It is not a measure of your ability. It is a reflection of someone else's perspective. And perspectives can be limited. If you internalize every doubt that comes your way, you will never move forward. You will constantly adjust your path based on what others think, rather than what you believe. You will shrink your vision to fit within their expectations, rather than expanding it based on your potential. And that is how dreams fade. Not because they were impossible, but because they were abandoned. But when you understand the reality of being doubted, something changes. You stop taking it personally. You stop seeing it as a sign that you should quit. You stop allowing it to control your decisions. Instead, you begin to expect it. You recognize that if you are doing something meaningful, something different, something that requires growth, doubt will be part of the process. And when it shows up, you are not surprised. You are prepared. This preparation gives you an advantage. Because while others may be slowed down by doubt, you continue moving forward. While others may seek validation, you focus on progress. While others may hesitate, you take action. And over time that difference compounds. Your belief grows stronger. Your actions become more consistent. Your results begin to speak. And slowly, the doubt that once surrounded you loses its power. Not because it disappears, but because it no longer affects you in the same way. You have built something stronger than external opinion. You have built internal conviction. Conviction is what keeps you going when things are uncertain. It is what allows you to stay focused when others question you. It is what drives you to continue, even when you do not have immediate proof of success. And conviction is not something you are given. It is something you develop. You develop it by choosing to believe in your path, even when it is unclear. You develop it by taking action, even when you feel unsure. You develop it by continuing forward, even when you are doubted. This is how strength is built. Not in moments of ease, but in moments of resistance. Being doubted is not a sign that you should stop. It is a sign that you are stepping into something that requires growth. Something that challenges the norm. Something that has the potential to become meaningful. And that is why it feels uncomfortable. Because growth is uncomfortable. Because change is unfamiliar. Because anything worth pursuing requires effort, patience and belief. So instead of asking, "Why am I being doubted?" begin to ask, "What does this say about the path I am on?" Because often the more meaningful the pursuit, the more doubt it attracts. Not because it is impossible, but because it is uncommon. And uncommon paths are not always understood. But they are often the ones that lead to the greatest outcomes. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to pursue what matters to you. You are here to grow. You are here to build something that reflects your vision, not someone else's expectations. And that journey will come with doubt. But that doubt does not define you. It does not limit you. It does not determine your future. It is simply part of the process. A process that, if you stay committed, will lead you to something greater than you can currently see. So do not be discouraged by doubt. Do not be slowed down by it. Do not let it change your direction. Let it remind you that you are doing something different. Something meaningful. Something that requires belief. And as long as you continue to believe in yourself, no amount of doubt from others can stop you. Because in the end, it is not their belief that matters. It is yours. Chapter 2: Why Rejection Hurts and Why It Matters. Rejection has a way of cutting deeper than almost any other experience. It is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet, subtle, and almost invisible to others. But within you, it feels heavy. It lingers. It echoes. It stays longer than you expect it to. It could be a missed opportunity, a failed application, a lost relationship, or simply being overlooked. Whatever form it takes, rejection carries a unique kind of weight. It does not just say no to what you wanted, it can feel like it is saying no to you. And that is why it hurts so much. Rejection feels personal. Even when it is not meant to be. Even when there are reasons beyond your control. Even when it has nothing to do with your worth. Your mind still interprets it in a way that connects it to your identity. You begin to question yourself. You wonder if you were not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, or not deserving enough. The experience becomes more than an outcome, it becomes a reflection of how you see yourself. This is where rejection becomes dangerous. Not because of what happened, but because of what you believe it means. You begin to internalize the moment. You attach it to your identity. You allow it to shape how you view your potential. And without realizing it, one rejection can turn into a belief that limits your future. But here is the truth you must hold on to. Rejection is an event. It is not your identity. It is something that happened. It is not who you are. Understanding this distinction is one of the most important steps in your growth. Because the pain of rejection does not come only from the experience itself, it comes from the meaning you attach to it. When you begin to separate rejection from your self-worth, everything changes. You stop seeing it as a reflection of your value. You begin to see it as part of your journey. And in that shift, rejection loses its ability to define you. But to truly understand rejection, you must first understand why it feels so personal. At a deep level, human beings are wired for connection. We seek acceptance. We want to feel valued, recognized, and included. From an early age, approval becomes associated with safety. When we are accepted, we feel secure. When we are rejected, we feel exposed. This is not weakness. It is human nature. But as you grow, you must learn to redefine what acceptance means. Because if your sense of worth is entirely dependent on external approval, you will always be vulnerable to rejection. Your confidence will rise and fall based on how others respond to you. Your decisions will be influenced by fear of being turned away. Your potential will be limited by your need to be accepted. And that is not where your power lies. Your power lies in building a sense of self-worth that is not dependent on external validation. A sense of worth that remains steady, even when rejection happens. A sense of worth that is rooted in who you are, not in how others respond to you. This does not mean rejection will stop hurting. It means it will no longer control you. It means you will feel it, but you will not be defined by it. And this is where rejection begins to shift from something negative to something meaningful. Because rejection is not just a painful experience. It is also a form of redirection. Every rejection carries information. It tells you something about the situation, the timing, the alignment, or the environment. It may not always be clear in the moment, but over time you begin to see patterns. You begin to understand that not every opportunity is meant for you, not every path is the right one, and not every no is a loss. Sometimes rejection is protection. It keeps you from moving forward in a direction that would not have served you. Sometimes rejection is redirection. It guides you toward a path that is more aligned with who you are becoming. And sometimes, rejection is preparation. It challenges you to grow, to improve, and to develop the strength you need for what is ahead. But you will only see these possibilities if you are willing to look beyond the immediate disappointment. If you are willing to ask, "What can I learn from this?" instead of, "Why was I not chosen?" This shift does not remove the pain, but it transforms it. It turns rejection from an ending into a stepping stone, from a setback into a lesson, from something that stops you into something that shapes you. Many people stop after rejection. They take it as a sign that they are not capable, that they should not continue, that they should choose a safer path. They allow one moment to determine their direction. But those who grow understand something different. They understand that rejection is part of the process. Not a sign to stop, but a signal to continue. They understand that every no brings them closer to the right yes. They understand that rejection does not mean they are not good enough. It means they are still in progress. And progress requires persistence. You will not succeed in everything you try. You will not be accepted in every opportunity. You will not be chosen every time. But that does not mean you are not capable. It means you are on a journey. And every journey includes moments of rejection. The key is not to avoid rejection. It is to build the strength to move through it. To feel it without being stopped by it. To learn from it without being defined by it. To continue forward, even when it is difficult. Because every time you move past rejection, you are building something within yourself. You are building resilience. You are building confidence. You are building belief. And that belief becomes your foundation. It becomes the reason you keep going. It becomes the voice that reminds you that one rejection does not determine your future. It becomes the strength that allows you to try again. There will be moments when rejection feels overwhelming. Moments when it feels like nothing is working. Moments when you question whether you are on the right path. That is part of the journey. But in those moments, you must remind yourself of something important. You are not defined by who rejects you. You are defined by how you respond. Do you stop? Or do you continue? Do you doubt yourself? Or do you strengthen your belief? Do you see it as an ending? Or do you see it as a redirection? These choices determine your path. And while rejection may not be something you can control, your response to it always is. As you move forward, begin to see rejection differently. Not as something that takes away from you, but as something that adds to your growth. Not as proof that you are not enough, but as part of the process of becoming more. Not as something to fear, but as something to learn from. Because every rejection you face is shaping you. It is building your resilience. It is strengthening your mindset. It is preparing you for the opportunities that are truly meant for you. And when those opportunities come, you will be ready. Not because you avoided rejection, but because you grew through it. Rejection does not define your value. It reveals your strength. And when you learn to move through it with confidence, with awareness and with persistence, it becomes one of the most powerful tools in your journey. So do not fear rejection. Do not let it stop you. Let it teach you. Let it guide you. And most importantly, let it remind you that your worth is not determined by who says no. It is determined by the belief you choose to hold in yourself. Chapter 3: The Hidden Power of Being Underestimated. There is a quiet advantage that most people overlook, simply because it does not feel like an advantage at first. It feels like being ignored. It feels like being overlooked. It feels like people not seeing your potential, not recognizing your value, or not expecting much from you. It feels like being underestimated. And for many, that feeling can be frustrating. It can feel unfair. You may wonder why others do not see what you see in yourself. You may feel like you have to constantly prove your worth, like you have to work twice as hard just to be taken seriously. But what if being underestimated is not something working against you? What if it is something working for you? What if it is one of the most powerful positions you could ever be in? Because when people underestimate you, they give you something most people do not have. They give you freedom. Freedom from expectations. Freedom from pressure. Freedom from constant scrutiny. When no one is expecting you to succeed, you are no longer performing for others. You are no longer trying to live up to someone else's standard. You are no longer burdened by the fear of disappointing people who are watching your every move. Instead, you are free to focus on your growth. You are free to make mistakes. You are free to learn, adjust, and improve without the weight of expectations holding you back. And that freedom is powerful. Because growth thrives in environments where there is room to experiment. When you are constantly being watched, judged, or evaluated, you may become cautious. You may avoid risks. You may play it safe to protect your image. But when you are underestimated, that pressure disappears. No one is expecting perfection from you. And that allows you to focus on progress. This is where the hidden power lies. Being underestimated allows you to move quietly, to build without distraction, to develop your skills without interference, to grow into your potential without needing constant validation. While others are focused on proving themselves, you are focused on improving yourself. And over time, that difference becomes significant. Because while they are managing expectations, you are building capability. While they are trying to maintain an image, you are developing substance. And when the moment comes, when the opportunity appears, when your growth begins to show, the results speak louder than any expectation ever could. This is why many successful individuals were once underestimated. Not because they lacked ability, but because their potential was not immediately visible. And instead of seeing that as a limitation, they used it as an advantage. They did not waste energy trying to convince others. They invested that energy into themselves. They focused on learning, improving, and taking action. They allowed their results to speak for them. And by the time others began to notice, they had already built something strong. This is the mindset you must develop. You do not need everyone to see your vision. You do not need everyone to believe in you. You do not need to prove yourself to anyone. What you need is focus. Focus on your growth. Focus on your actions. Focus on becoming the person capable of achieving what you desire. Because when you are underestimated, you have the opportunity to do something powerful. You can surprise people. Not by trying to impress them, but by exceeding what they thought was possible. And that is a different kind of success. It is not built on external validation. It is built on internal development. There is also something important to understand about expectations. High expectations from others can create pressure. When people expect you to succeed, they are watching you closely. They are paying attention to your progress, your decisions, and your results. That attention can be motivating, but it can also be limiting. It can make you afraid to fail. It can make you hesitant to take risks. It can make you focus more on maintaining your image than on growing your abilities. But when you are underestimated, that pressure is removed. No one is watching closely. No one is expecting immediate success. And that gives you space. Space to learn. Space to fail. Space to improve. And that space is where real growth happens. Because growth is not always visible in the beginning. It happens quietly. It happens through repetition, through effort, through persistence. And when you have the freedom to focus on that process without distraction, you build something stronger. You build confidence based on experience. You build skills based on practice. You build belief based on progress. And those things cannot be taken away. They are not dependent on what others think. They are built from within. Another advantage of being underestimated is that it forces you to rely on yourself. When others do not believe in you, you cannot depend on their support to keep going. You have to build your own belief. You have to motivate yourself. You have to trust your own vision, even when it is not understood. And while this may feel difficult at first, it becomes one of your greatest strengths. Because self-belief is more powerful than external validation. When your belief comes from within, it is not easily shaken. It does not depend on approval. It does not disappear when things get difficult. It remains steady even when circumstances change. And that kind of belief allows you to move forward with confidence. It allows you to stay focused, even when progress is slow. It allows you to continue, even when others doubt you. This is what makes underestimated individuals dangerous. Not in a negative sense, but in a powerful one. They are not distracted by expectations. They are not limited by opinions. They are not controlled by external validation. They are focused. They are driven. They are committed to their growth. And over time, that commitment leads to results. Results that cannot be ignored. Results that speak for themselves. Results that change how others see them. But by the time that happens, something important has already changed. They no longer need that recognition. Because they have already built confidence in themselves. They have already proven to themselves what they are capable of. And that is the real victory. Not changing others' opinions, but strengthening your own belief. As you move forward, begin to see being underestimated differently. Do not see it as something that holds you back. See it as something that gives you an advantage. See it as an opportunity to grow without pressure. See it as a chance to focus on your development, rather than on others' expectations. Let others doubt you. Let them overlook you. Let them underestimate you. Because while they are forming opinions, you are building results. While they are making assumptions, you are taking action. While they are waiting to see what you will become, you are becoming it. And when the time comes, when your growth becomes visible, when your results begin to show, it will not be your words that change their perspective. It will be your progress. It will be your consistency. It will be the undeniable evidence of what you have built. And at that point, their expectations no longer matter. Because you have already exceeded them. Being underestimated is not your weakness. It is your hidden advantage. Use it. Grow through it. And let your results speak louder than their doubt. Chapter 4: Turning Criticism into Clarity. Criticism is one of the most unavoidable experiences on the path to growth. The moment you decide to do something meaningful, to step outside of comfort, or to pursue something that matters to you, you open yourself up to opinions. Some will support you. Some will question you. And some will criticize you. At first, criticism can feel like an attack. It can feel like someone is pointing out your flaws, highlighting your weaknesses, or questioning your ability. It can make you defensive, discouraged, or even angry. It can shake your confidence and cause you to doubt yourself. But what if criticism is not meant to break you? What if it is meant to refine you? The truth is, criticism is not inherently negative. It becomes negative only when you do not know how to handle it. When you take it personally, when you internalize it without questioning it, or when you allow it to define your self-worth, it becomes a burden. But when you learn how to filter it, understand it, and use it, criticism becomes something powerful. It becomes clarity. The first step in turning criticism into clarity is understanding that not all criticism is the same. There is a difference between destructive criticism and constructive feedback. Destructive criticism is often rooted in emotion rather than insight. It may come from jealousy, insecurity, frustration, or misunderstanding. It is usually vague, harsh, and focused on tearing you down rather than helping you improve. It might sound like judgment, negativity, or personal attacks that offer no real direction. Constructive feedback, on the other hand, is different. It is specific. It is focused on improvement. It is given with the intention of helping you grow. It may still be uncomfortable to hear, but it carries value. It points to something you can learn from, something you can adjust, something you can refine. The challenge is that in the moment, both types of criticism can feel the same. They can both trigger emotional reactions. They can both make you question yourself. And if you are not careful, you may treat all criticism as harmful, rejecting even the feedback that could help you grow. This is why you must learn to filter what you hear. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every comment deserves your energy. And not every piece of criticism deserves your belief. When you receive criticism, the first thing you must do is pause. Do not react immediately. Do not defend yourself right away. Do not internalize it without reflection. Take a moment to step back and ask yourself a simple question. Is there something useful in this? This question changes everything. It shifts your focus from emotion to evaluation. It allows you to separate what is helpful from what is not. Sometimes you will find that the criticism is empty. It offers no real insight, no direction, no value. It is simply noise. And when that is the case, you can let it go. You do not need to carry every opinion. You do not need to respond to every comment. You do not need to prove yourself to everyone who doubts you. Let it pass. But other times, you may find that there is truth within the criticism. Not necessarily in how it was delivered, but in what it is pointing to. There may be an area where you can improve. There may be a blind spot you were not aware of. There may be something you can adjust to become better. And this is where criticism becomes valuable. Because growth requires awareness. You cannot improve what you do not recognize. And sometimes others can see things that you cannot. This does not mean you accept everything without question. It means you remain open to learning. It means you are willing to extract the lesson, even if the delivery was imperfect. This ability to filter and extract value is what turns criticism into clarity. Instead of feeling attacked, you feel informed. Instead of feeling discouraged, you feel guided. Instead of feeling limited, you feel empowered to improve. This shift is powerful because it removes the emotional weight of criticism and replaces it with purpose. You are no longer reacting. You are responding. Another important part of handling criticism is separating it from your identity. When someone criticizes your work, your actions, or your decisions, it does not mean they are criticizing who you are as a person. But if you attach your identity to everything you do, criticism will always feel personal. You must learn to create space between who you are and what you do. Your work can improve. Your skills can develop. Your approach can evolve. But your worth remains constant. When you understand this, criticism loses its ability to damage your self-esteem. It becomes feedback, not a definition. It becomes information, not a judgment. And that allows you to grow without losing your confidence. There is also a deeper level to this process. Criticism tests your emotional control. It challenges your ability to stay grounded when faced with discomfort. It reveals how you respond under pressure. Do you react with defensiveness? Do you shut down? Do you allow it to affect your motivation? Or do you stay calm, evaluate the situation, and choose your response? This is where emotional discipline comes into play. You cannot control what others say, but you can control how you respond. And your response determines your growth. If you react emotionally, you may miss the lesson. If you shut down, you may avoid the opportunity to improve. But if you stay open and focused, you can use criticism as a tool. A tool that sharpens you. A tool that refines your approach. A tool that pushes you to become better. Over time, this mindset changes how you experience criticism. It no longer feels like something to fear. It becomes something you can use. You begin to welcome feedback, not because you enjoy being criticized, but because you understand its value. You see it as part of the process. Part of becoming better. Part of reaching your potential. This does not mean you seek out negativity. It means you are no longer controlled by it. You take what is useful. You discard what is not. And you keep moving forward. There will always be people who criticize you. No matter what you do, no matter how well you perform, no matter how much you achieve, there will always be opinions. That is not something you can change. But what you can change is how you use those opinions. You can let them distract you. Or you can let them direct you. You can let them weaken you. Or you can let them strengthen you. The choice is yours. And the more you practice this mindset, the easier it becomes. You begin to develop a sense of clarity. You know what matters. You know what aligns with your growth. You know what deserves your attention. And you no longer feel overwhelmed by external opinions. Because you have built something stronger within yourself. Confidence. Not the kind that ignores feedback, but the kind that understands it. The kind that remains steady, even when faced with criticism. The kind that allows you to grow without losing yourself. As you continue on your journey, remember this. Criticism is not your enemy. It is a tool. And like any tool, its value depends on how you use it. Use it to learn. Use it to improve. Use it to gain clarity. And most importantly, use it to become stronger. Because when you learn how to handle criticism with awareness, with intention, and with discipline, it no longer has the power to hold you back. It becomes part of what moves you forward. Chapter 5: Breaking Free from the Need for Approval. There is a silent force that shapes the way many people live their lives. It influences their decisions, controls their actions, and quietly determines how far they are willing to go. It is not always obvious, but it is powerful. It is the need for approval. At first it may seem harmless. Wanting to be liked, accepted, and respected is a natural human desire. From a young age, you learn to seek validation. You are praised for doing well, corrected when you make mistakes, and guided by the reactions of others. Over time, this conditioning becomes part of how you navigate the world. You begin to measure yourself based on how others respond to you. You feel good when you are approved of. You feel uncertain when you are not. And without realizing it, your sense of worth becomes tied to external validation. This is where the problem begins. Because when your confidence depends on approval, your freedom becomes limited. You start to hesitate. You start to overthink. You start to make decisions based not on what you truly want, but on what will be accepted. You may avoid taking risks because you fear judgment. You may stay in situations that no longer serve you, because you do not want to disappoint others. You may silence your voice, because you are afraid of criticism. And in doing so, you begin to lose connection with yourself. This is the hidden cost of approval seeking. It does not just hold you back from external success. It holds you back from becoming who you truly are. Because when you are constantly seeking approval, you are not leading your life. You are following expectations. And expectations are often based on other people's perspectives, not your own purpose. Breaking free from the need for approval is one of the most important steps in your growth. It is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. It is the moment you stop asking, "What will they think?" and start asking, "What do I believe is right for me?" This shift is not easy. It requires you to confront something deeply ingrained. It requires you to accept that not everyone will agree with you. It requires you to be willing to be misunderstood. But it is necessary. Because the life you are meant to live cannot be built on other people's opinions. It must be built on your own conviction. The truth is, no matter what you do, you will never be approved by everyone. There will always be different opinions, different perspectives, and different expectations. If you try to satisfy all of them, you will end up losing yourself in the process. And even if you succeed in gaining approval, it will not last. Because approval is temporary. It changes based on circumstances, people, and situations. What is praised today may be criticized tomorrow. What is accepted in one environment may be rejected in another. If your confidence depends on something that unstable, it will always be fragile. This is why self-belief is essential. Self-belief is different from external validation. It does not depend on others. It does not fluctuate based on opinions. It is built from within. It is the belief that you are capable, that you are worthy, and that you can trust your own decisions. And unlike approval, it is stable. It remains with you, regardless of what others think. Building self-belief begins with awareness. You have to recognize when you are seeking approval. Notice your thoughts. Do you hesitate before making decisions because you are worried about how others will react? Do you change your behavior to fit in? Do you feel uncomfortable when you are not validated? These patterns are not signs of weakness. They are signs of conditioning. And once you become aware of them, you can begin to change them. The next step is learning to trust yourself. This is where many people struggle. Because trusting yourself means taking responsibility for your choices. It means accepting that you may not always get it right. It means being willing to make decisions without guarantees. But it also means giving yourself the opportunity to grow. Every time you make a decision based on your own values, rather than external approval, you strengthen your self-trust. Every time you take action, even when you feel uncertain, you build confidence. Every time you stay true to yourself, even when it is uncomfortable, you reinforce your identity. And over time, this process creates something powerful. You begin to rely less on others for validation. You begin to feel more secure in your own choices. You begin to move through life with a sense of clarity and direction. This does not mean you ignore feedback. It means you no longer depend on it to define your worth. You can listen to others. You can learn from different perspectives. But you make your decisions based on what aligns with you, not based on what will be approved. This is the difference between guidance and dependence. Guidance can be helpful. Dependence is limiting. As you continue this journey, you will encounter moments where the need for approval resurfaces. There will be situations where you feel the urge to conform, to please, or to seek validation. That is normal. But in those moments, you must remind yourself of something important. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to become who you are meant to be. And that path may not always be understood. It may not always be supported. But it is yours. And that is what makes it meaningful. Breaking free from approval also means accepting that discomfort is part of growth. There will be moments when you feel uncertain. Moments when you question your decisions. Moments when you feel exposed. But discomfort is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are stepping outside of your comfort zone. And growth happens outside of comfort. Every time you choose to act based on your own belief, rather than seeking approval, you expand your capacity. You become more confident, more independent, more aligned with yourself. And over time, that alignment becomes your strength. You no longer need constant reassurance. You no longer wait for permission. You no longer hold yourself back because of what others might think. You move forward with intention, with clarity, with belief. And that is where your power lies. Because when you are no longer controlled by the need for approval, you are free. Free to take risks. Free to pursue your goals. Free to express yourself. Free to grow. And that freedom allows you to reach levels that would not have been possible otherwise. Your path becomes clearer. Your decisions become stronger. Your actions become more consistent. And your results begin to reflect your true potential. As you move forward, remember this. Approval is not a requirement for success. Belief is. You do not need everyone to agree with you. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need everyone to support you. What you need is trust in yourself. Trust in your vision. Trust in your ability to figure things out as you go. And when you have that, everything changes. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are creating your own path. You are no longer seeking validation. You are building confidence. You are no longer limited by opinions. You are guided by purpose. Breaking free from the need for approval is not about rejecting others. It is about choosing yourself. It is about deciding that your life will be shaped by your beliefs, not by others' expectations. It is about stepping into your power, even when it feels uncomfortable. And once you do, you will realize something important. The approval you were seeking from others was never as powerful as the belief you can build within yourself. And when that belief becomes strong enough, you no longer need validation. You become your own source of it. Chapter 6: Building an Unshakable Mindset. There is a difference between people who start strong and people who finish strong. Many people begin with excitement, with motivation, with belief. But when challenges arise, when doubt creeps in, when results are not immediate, something shifts. Focus weakens. Confidence fades. Momentum slows. And this is where most people stop. Not because they are incapable, but because their mindset was not built to withstand pressure. An unshakable mindset is not something you are born with. It is something you develop. It is built through experience, through discipline, and through the way you choose to respond when things do not go as planned. It is what allows you to stay focused when distractions appear, to stay confident when doubt surrounds you, and to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. Without it, every obstacle feels like a barrier. With it, every obstacle becomes part of the process. The foundation of an unshakable mindset begins with clarity. You must know what you are working toward and why it matters to you. When your purpose is clear, your focus becomes stronger. You are not easily pulled in different directions because you understand what you are building. But clarity alone is not enough. You also need discipline. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. There will be days when you feel inspired and ready to take on anything. But there will also be days when you feel tired, distracted, or uncertain. If your actions depend on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. It is the ability to take action even when it is uncomfortable. It is the decision to stay committed, even when it would be easier to stop. And it is built through repetition. Every time you choose to show up, even when you do not feel like it, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you follow through on your commitments, you reinforce your mindset. And over time, these small actions create a level of consistency that becomes your strength. An unshakable mindset is not built in one moment. It is built in the decisions you make every day. Another important aspect of mental strength is your ability to manage your thoughts. Your mind is constantly producing thoughts, but not all of them are helpful. Some are based on fear. Some are influenced by past experiences. Some are shaped by doubt. If you are not aware of them, they can control how you feel and how you act. You may think, "This is too hard," and immediately feel discouraged. You may think, "I am not good enough," and hesitate to take action. You may think, "What if I fail?" and avoid trying altogether. These thoughts are powerful, but they are not always accurate. And this is where awareness becomes essential. You have to learn to observe your thoughts without automatically believing them. You have to question them. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me move forward? If it is not, you have the ability to replace it. This does not mean forcing yourself to be positive all the time. It means choosing thoughts that are constructive. Instead of thinking, "This is too hard," you can shift to, "This is challenging, but I can learn." Instead of thinking, "I am not good enough," you can think, "I am improving." Instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" you can think, "What if I grow from this?" These shifts may seem small, but they change how you approach situations. They change your emotional response. And they change your actions. This is how you take control of your mindset. Emotional control is another key element of resilience. You will experience emotions. You will feel frustration, disappointment, and doubt. That is part of the journey. But your strength is not determined by whether you feel these emotions. It is determined by how you respond to them. Do you allow frustration to stop you? Do you allow disappointment to discourage you? Do you allow doubt to slow you down? Or do you acknowledge these emotions and continue forward? Emotional discipline means feeling without losing control. It means recognizing what you are experiencing, but not letting it dictate your actions. It means staying grounded, even when things feel uncertain. And this ability grows over time. Every time you choose to respond calmly, instead of reacting impulsively, you strengthen your emotional control. Every time you move forward despite discomfort, you build resilience. Another challenge you will face is negativity. It may come from others, from your environment, or from within yourself. People may doubt you. They may question your choices. They may criticize your efforts. And if you are not careful, this negativity can affect your mindset. But here is something you must understand. Not all voices deserve your attention. You have to be selective about what you allow into your mind. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, it will influence your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. But if you focus on what supports your growth, you create a different environment. This does not mean ignoring reality. It means protecting your mindset. It means choosing what you focus on. It means deciding which voices matter. And often, the most important voice is your own. What you say to yourself matters more than what anyone else says. Because you hear it constantly. It shapes how you see yourself. It influences how you approach challenges. And it determines how you respond to setbacks. Speaking to yourself with strength, with belief, and with intention is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. Setbacks are inevitable. No matter how focused or disciplined you are, there will be moments when things do not go as planned. You may fail. You may experience delays. You may face obstacles that you did not expect. These moments can test your mindset. They can make you question your progress. They can make you feel like you are not moving forward. But setbacks are not the end. They are part of the process. Every setback carries a lesson. It shows you what needs to improve. It reveals areas where you can grow. And it strengthens your ability to adapt. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, begin to see them as feedback. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? This question keeps you moving forward. It keeps your focus on growth. And it prevents you from getting stuck. Confidence is another important part of an unshakable mindset. But confidence is often misunderstood. It is not about always feeling certain. It is not about never doubting yourself. It is about trusting your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Confidence is built through action. Every time you take a step forward, you build evidence. Evidence that you can try. Evidence that you can learn. Evidence that you can improve. And over time, that evidence becomes belief. Belief in your ability. Belief in your growth. Belief in your potential. This belief is what allows you to keep going, even when things are uncertain. Because you know that no matter what happens, you will find a way to move forward. An unshakable mindset does not mean you are never affected by challenges. It means you are not controlled by them. It means you have the ability to stay focused, to stay disciplined, and to stay confident, even when things are difficult. It means you are committed to your growth, regardless of the obstacles. And this commitment is what sets you apart. Because while others may stop when things get hard, you continue. While others may doubt themselves, you build belief. While others may lose focus, you stay consistent. This is what creates long-term success. Not talent. Not luck. But mindset. The way you think. The way you respond. The way you continue. As you move forward, remember that building an unshakable mindset is a process. It requires effort. It requires awareness. It requires discipline. But every step you take strengthens you. Every challenge you face builds resilience. Every moment you choose to keep going reinforces your mindset. You are not becoming someone who avoids difficulty. You are becoming someone who can handle it. And that is where your true power lies. Because when your mindset is strong, nothing can easily shake you. Not doubt. Not criticism. Not setbacks. You remain focused. You remain committed. You remain moving forward. And that is what makes you unstoppable. Chapter 7: Using Doubt as Motivation. There is a moment that many people experience, though few truly understand its potential. It is the moment when someone doubts you, questions you, or silently assumes that you will not succeed. It may come in the form of words, a look, or even a lack of belief. And in that moment, something shifts inside you. You feel it. A spark. At first it may feel like frustration. It may feel like anger. It may feel like the urge to prove them wrong. But beneath those emotions lies something powerful: energy. And that energy can either work against you or for you. Most people allow doubt to weaken them. They internalize it. They begin to question themselves. They slow down, hesitate, or even stop completely. They allow other people's opinions to shape their own beliefs. But there is another way to respond. You can use doubt as fuel. You can take that energy and channel it into something productive. You can let it push you forward, instead of holding you back. This is where your mindset shifts from passive to powerful. Because doubt, when used correctly, becomes one of the strongest sources of motivation you can have. The key is understanding where that energy goes. When someone doubts you, it creates tension. It creates a desire to respond, to react, to prove something. If you direct that energy toward frustration or negativity, it drains you. It distracts you. It pulls you away from your focus. But if you direct that energy toward action, it drives you. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your discipline. It pushes you to show up, even when you do not feel like it. This is the difference between reacting and channeling. Reacting is emotional. Channeling is intentional. And intention is what transforms doubt into motivation. One of the most important shifts you must make is understanding who you are proving yourself to. At first, it may feel like you want to prove others wrong. You may want to show them that they underestimated you, that they were incorrect, that you are capable of more than they believed. But if your motivation is entirely based on others, it becomes unstable. Because once you gain their recognition, or once their opinions change, your drive may fade. True motivation does not come from proving others wrong. It comes from proving yourself right. It comes from showing yourself that you can do what you said you would do. It comes from building a level of self-respect that is not dependent on external validation. When you shift your focus inward, everything changes. Doubt is no longer about them. It becomes about you. It becomes a reminder of what you are capable of. It becomes a challenge to rise to your own potential. And that is where real power lies. Because now, your drive is not temporary. It is consistent. It is not based on emotion. It is based on purpose. Using doubt as motivation also requires discipline. Motivation alone is not enough. It may give you a burst of energy in the beginning, but it will not sustain you over time. Discipline is what keeps you moving when that initial energy fades. It is what turns moments of inspiration into long-term progress. Every time you feel doubt, whether it comes from others or from within, you have a choice. You can sit with it. Or you can act. And action is what transforms energy into results. When you take action, you begin to build momentum. You begin to create evidence. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that you are improving. Evidence that you are moving forward. And that evidence strengthens your belief. It reduces the impact of doubt. It replaces uncertainty with progress. This is how doubt loses its power. Not by being ignored, but by being outworked. Consistency is another critical factor. Using doubt as motivation is not about one big moment of effort. It is about showing up repeatedly. It is about taking small, consistent steps, even when no one is watching. It is about continuing, even when progress feels slow. Because doubt does not disappear overnight. It fades over time, as your actions begin to speak. Every day you show up, you reinforce your commitment. Every day you take action, you move closer to your goals. Every day you stay consistent, you build strength. And over time, that consistency creates results. Results that cannot be ignored. Results that shift perception. Results that prove what you have been building all along. But more importantly, results that prove something to you. That you are capable. That you can follow through. That you can turn doubt into something powerful. There will be moments when doubt feels overwhelming. Moments when it feels like nothing is working. Moments when the voices, external or internal, become louder. That is when your mindset is tested. That is when you must remind yourself why you started. That is when you must choose to keep going. Not because it is easy, but because it matters. In those moments, doubt can either stop you or strengthen you. If you let it control your thoughts, it will slow you down. But if you use it as a reminder of what you are working toward, it will push you forward. It will remind you that you are doing something meaningful. Something challenging. Something that requires growth. And growth is never comfortable. It requires effort. It requires patience. It requires persistence. But it also creates strength. Strength that builds over time. Strength that cannot be easily shaken. Strength that allows you to keep moving, even when things are uncertain. This is what makes doubt valuable. Not because it feels good, but because it forces you to develop. It forces you to build resilience. It forces you to commit. And through that process, you become stronger. You become more focused. You become more determined. You begin to see doubt differently. It is no longer something you fear. It becomes something you use. Something that reminds you to work harder. Something that pushes you to stay consistent. Something that fuels your progress. And over time, that fuel becomes part of your mindset. You begin to rely less on external motivation. You begin to generate your own. You become someone who does not wait for the perfect moment. You create momentum regardless of circumstances. This is where you separate yourself. Not by avoiding doubt, but by using it. Not by waiting for confidence, but by building it through action. Not by reacting to negativity, but by channeling it into something productive. As you continue your journey, remember this. Doubt is inevitable, but discouragement is optional. You cannot control what others think, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to let doubt slow you down, or you can choose to let it push you forward. You can choose to see it as a limitation, or you can choose to see it as fuel. And that choice determines everything. Because when you learn how to use doubt as motivation, you turn something negative into something powerful. You turn resistance into drive. You turn criticism into focus. You turn uncertainty into action. And in doing so, you create progress. Progress that builds over time. Progress that leads to results. Progress that proves what you are capable of. Not to others, but to yourself. And that is the most important proof you can have. Because when you believe in yourself truly and consistently, no amount of doubt can stop you. It can only push you further. So let them doubt you. And then use it. Use it to work harder. Use it to stay focused. Use it to build something undeniable. Because in the end, it will not be their doubt that defines you. It will be what you chose to do with it. Chapter 8: Creating Results That Speak for Themselves. There is a point in every journey where talking stops working. You can explain your vision. You can defend your decisions. You can try to convince people that you are capable. But words have limits. They can be questioned, misunderstood, or dismissed. And the more you try to explain yourself to people who already doubt you, the more energy you waste. Because doubt is not defeated by arguments. It is silenced by results. This is one of the most important lessons you will ever learn. You do not need to prove yourself through words. You prove yourself through action. There is a quiet confidence that comes from knowing this. You stop feeling the need to respond to every opinion. You stop trying to convince people who are not willing to understand. You stop seeking validation through explanation. And instead, you focus on something far more powerful. Progress. Because progress speaks. It does not need to argue. It does not need to justify itself. It shows. And when it shows, it becomes undeniable. Creating results is not about one big moment of success. It is about consistent effort over time. It is about showing up, again and again, even when no one is watching. It is about doing the work when it is easy, and when it is difficult. It is about staying committed, even when the results are not immediate. This is where most people struggle. They want quick proof. They want immediate recognition. They want their efforts to be seen and acknowledged right away. But real results take time. They are built slowly. They are developed through repetition, discipline, and patience. And during that time, it may feel like nothing is happening. You may feel like your efforts are not being noticed. You may feel like you are not making progress. But growth is not always visible in the beginning. It happens beneath the surface. It happens in the habits you build. It happens in the skills you develop. It happens in the discipline you strengthen. And over time, that invisible growth becomes visible. It becomes results. Results that cannot be ignored. Results that speak louder than any explanation ever could. This is why consistency matters. Consistency is what turns effort into progress. It is what separates those who start from those who finish. It is easy to take action once. It is easy to feel motivated for a short period of time. But it is difficult to continue when motivation fades. It is difficult to stay focused when distractions appear. It is difficult to keep going when results are not immediate. And that is where consistency becomes your advantage. Because while others may stop, you continue. While others may lose focus, you stay committed. While others may wait for the perfect moment, you create momentum. Every day you show up, you build something. Even if it is small. Even if it does not feel significant. It adds up. And over time, those small actions create something powerful. They create results. Discipline plays a key role in this process. Motivation can start the journey, but discipline sustains it. It is the ability to act, regardless of how you feel. It is the commitment to your goals, even when it is uncomfortable. It is the decision to prioritize long-term growth over short-term comfort. There will be days when you do not feel like putting in the effort. Days when you are tired. Days when you question whether it is worth it. But discipline is what keeps you moving forward. It is what ensures that your progress does not depend on your emotions. It is what allows you to stay consistent, even when it is difficult. And over time, that discipline becomes part of who you are. It becomes your standard. It becomes the reason you continue, even when others stop. Effort is another essential component. Not just any effort, but focused effort. Effort that is aligned with your goals. Effort that is intentional. Effort that is directed toward improvement. It is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. It is about identifying what moves you forward and focusing your energy there. Because results are not created by random action. They are created by consistent, intentional effort. There is also a level of patience required. Results do not happen overnight. They take time. And during that time you may face doubt. Not just from others but from yourself. You may wonder if your efforts are enough. You may question whether you are on the right path. You may feel tempted to stop or change direction. But patience is what allows you to stay the course. It is what keeps you grounded when progress feels slow. It is what reminds you that growth is a process. And that process cannot be rushed. As you continue, something important begins to happen. Your focus shifts. You are no longer concerned with what others think. You are focused on what you are building. You are no longer trying to prove yourself through words. You are proving yourself through action. And this shift changes everything. Because now, your energy is directed toward progress, not validation. You are investing in yourself. You are building something real. Something that cannot be taken away. And over time, people begin to notice. Not because you told them, but because your results are visible. Your consistency becomes evident. Your discipline becomes clear. Your progress becomes undeniable. And in that moment something shifts. The same people who doubted you begin to see you differently. The same voices that questioned you become quieter. Not because you argued with them, but because you showed them. And that is the power of results. They do not need to be defended. They speak for themselves. But here is something important to remember. Your goal is not to impress others. Your goal is to build something meaningful. Because if your focus is only on proving others wrong, you may lose sight of what truly matters. Your results are not just for them. They are for you. They are proof of your effort. Proof of your discipline. Proof of your growth. They show you what you are capable of. They reinforce your belief in yourself. And that belief becomes your foundation. As you move forward, let your actions lead. Let your work speak. Let your results show what you have built. Do not waste time arguing with doubt. Do not waste energy trying to convince people. Focus on what you can control. Your effort. Your consistency. Your discipline. And trust that over time those things will create results. Results that are clear. Results that are strong. Results that are undeniable. Because in the end, it is not what you say that matters. It is what you do. And when you commit to doing the work, day after day, regardless of the noise around you, you create something powerful. You create proof. Proof that cannot be questioned. Proof that cannot be ignored. Proof that speaks for itself. So stay focused. Stay consistent. Stay committed. And let your results do the talking. Chapter 9: Staying focused when no one believes in you. There is a stage in every meaningful journey that feels heavier than the rest. It is not the beginning, where excitement carries you forward. It is not the moment of success, where results validate your effort. It is the space in between. The quiet phase. The phase where you are working, trying, building, and pushing forward, but no one seems to see it. No one believes in you. No one understands your vision. No one reassures you that you are on the right path. And in that silence, something inside you is tested. This is where many people stop. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack support. It is easy to move forward when people are cheering for you. When others believe in you, their confidence can carry you through moments of doubt. Their encouragement can remind you to keep going. Their presence can make the journey feel lighter. But what happens when that support is not there? What happens when you are the only one who sees your vision? What happens when the people around you question your choices, doubt your direction, or simply do not understand what you are trying to build? This is where your focus must come from within. Because if your motivation depends on external belief, it will disappear when that belief is absent. But if your motivation is built internally, it remains. It becomes steady. It becomes reliable. And it becomes your greatest strength. Staying focused when no one believes in you requires a shift in how you see yourself. You can no longer rely on others to validate your path. You must learn to validate yourself. This is not about ignoring others completely. It is about not depending on them to confirm your worth or your direction. Because the truth is, not everyone will understand your vision. They cannot see what you see. They do not feel what you feel. They are not inside your mind, experiencing your thoughts, your ideas, your drive. And because of that, their belief will always be limited. But your belief does not have to be. Your belief can be built from within. And that belief becomes your foundation. When you trust yourself, you no longer need constant reassurance. You no longer wait for approval. You move forward because you believe in what you are doing. Even when it is uncertain. Even when it is difficult. Even when it feels like you are alone. This is where internal validation becomes essential. Internal validation is the ability to recognize your own effort, your own progress, and your own growth without needing others to acknowledge it. It is the ability to say, "I know I am moving forward," even when no one else sees it. It is the ability to trust your process, even when results are not yet visible. It is the ability to stay committed, even when there is no external reward. This kind of validation is powerful. Because it is not dependent on circumstances. It does not disappear when support is absent. It remains with you no matter what. And it allows you to keep going. There will be moments when you feel alone. Moments when you question your path. Moments when you wonder if it would be easier to stop, to choose something more familiar, something more accepted. That is normal. But in those moments, you must remind yourself of something important. You started for a reason. There was something within you that saw a possibility. Something that believed you could do more, become more, achieve more. That belief did not come from others. It came from you. And that is what you must return to. Because while others may doubt you, you have the ability to believe in yourself. And that belief is enough. Not because it guarantees immediate success, but because it gives you the strength to continue. Staying focused also requires clarity. You must know what you are working toward. You must understand why it matters to you. Because when your purpose is clear, distractions lose their power. When you know why you are doing something, it becomes easier to stay committed. Even when it is difficult. Even when it feels slow. Even when it feels like no one is paying attention. Your purpose becomes your anchor. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you focused. It reminds you that your journey is not about external validation. It is about internal fulfillment. Discipline plays a crucial role in this process. Because there will be days when you do not feel motivated. Days when doubt feels stronger than belief. Days when it would be easier to stop. But discipline is what keeps you moving. It is what allows you to take action, regardless of how you feel. It is what ensures that your progress continues, even when motivation fades. Every time you choose to show up, you reinforce your commitment. Every time you take action, you strengthen your focus. And over time, that consistency builds something powerful. Momentum. Momentum is what carries you forward. It is what keeps you moving, even when the path is unclear. And once you build it, it becomes easier to maintain. Another challenge you may face is the feeling of being misunderstood. When people do not understand your vision, it can feel isolating. It can make you question whether you are doing the right thing. It can make you feel like you are moving in a direction that no one else supports. But being misunderstood is not a sign that you are wrong. It is often a sign that you are doing something different. And different paths are not always understood. But they are often the ones that lead to the greatest growth. You are not here to follow what everyone else is doing. You are here to create your own path. And that path may not always be clear to others. But it must be clear to you. As you continue, remember that belief is not something that appears overnight. It is built. It is built through action. Through consistency. Through progress. Every step you take strengthens your belief. Every challenge you overcome reinforces your confidence. Every moment you continue despite the absence of support builds your resilience. And over time that resilience becomes your strength. You become someone who does not rely on external belief. You become someone who creates their own. You become someone who can move forward, regardless of circumstances. And that is what sets you apart. Because while others may wait for support, you continue without it. While others may hesitate, you take action. While others may doubt themselves, you build belief. And eventually, something changes. Your progress becomes visible. Your results begin to show. The same people who once doubted you may begin to notice. They may begin to believe. But by that time, something important has already happened. You no longer need their belief. Because you have built your own. And that is the ultimate goal. Not to be believed by everyone. But to believe in yourself enough to keep going. Enough to stay focused. Enough to continue, even when it feels difficult. As you move forward, remember this. You do not need a crowd to support you. You do not need constant reassurance. You do not need everyone to understand your journey. What you need is commitment. What you need is belief. What you need is the ability to stay focused, even when it feels like you are alone. Because you are not alone. You have yourself. Your vision. Your purpose. Your drive. And that is enough. Keep going. Keep building. Keep focusing. Because one day the results will speak. And the journey you continued, even when no one believed in you, will become the reason others do. Chapter 10. Becoming the person they didn't expect. There is something powerful about reaching a point in your journey where you no longer recognize the person you used to be. Not because you have lost yourself, but because you have grown beyond who you once were. There was a time when doubt affected you more deeply, when rejection felt heavier, when criticism stayed in your mind longer than it should have. There were moments when you questioned your path, your ability, and even your worth. And yet you kept going. You faced the doubt. You moved through the rejection. You learned from the criticism. You built strength where there was once uncertainty. And now, you stand in a different place. Stronger. More focused. More aware. More certain of who you are and what you are capable of. This is the transformation. This is what happens when you choose growth over comfort. When you choose belief over approval. When you choose action over hesitation. You become someone different. Not by chance, but by choice. And this is where everything comes together. Because the doubt you once feared was never your limitation. It was part of your journey. It was part of what shaped you. It was part of what pushed you to develop the mindset, the discipline, and the resilience you now carry. Without it, you would not have grown in the same way. Without it, you would not have built the same strength. Without it, you may have remained in a place of comfort, never realizing what you were capable of. Doubt did not stop you. It refined you. It forced you to question yourself, and in doing so it pushed you to find stronger answers. It challenged you to prove something, not to others but to yourself. It demanded that you build belief from within, rather than relying on external validation. And through that process you became stronger. You became someone who does not easily break under pressure. Someone who does not depend on approval to move forward. Someone who understands that growth requires effort, patience, and persistence. This is what it means to become the person they didn't expect. It is not about proving others wrong. It is about becoming who you were always capable of being. Because the truth is, people's expectations are often limited. They are based on what they can see, what they have experienced, and what they believe is possible. But your potential is not limited to what others can see. It is not defined by their understanding. It is not restricted by their expectations. It is shaped by your actions, by your consistency, by your willingness to continue, even when it is difficult. And over time those actions create change. They create growth. They create results. Results that shift perception. Results that show what you have built. But by the time that happens, something important has already changed within you. You are no longer doing it for them. You are doing it for yourself. Because the most important transformation is not external. It is internal. It is the shift from doubt to belief. From hesitation to action. From seeking validation to trusting yourself. This shift changes how you see everything. You no longer measure your progress based on others' opinions. You measure it based on your own standards. You no longer wait for permission. You create your own path. You no longer fear challenges. You face them with confidence. And this confidence is different. It is not loud. It is not based on perfection. It is steady. It is grounded. It comes from experience. From knowing what you have been through. From understanding what you have overcome. From recognizing what you are capable of. This is what makes you self-driven. You are no longer dependent on external motivation. You do not need constant encouragement. You do not rely on others to push you forward. You have built that drive within yourself. And that drive becomes your advantage. Because it is consistent. It does not disappear when things get difficult. It does not fade when recognition is absent. It remains. It pushes you to continue, to improve, to grow. And as you continue, you realize something important. The journey never really ends. There will always be new challenges, new goals, new levels of growth. But now, you approach them differently. You do not see them as obstacles. You see them as opportunities. Opportunities to become even stronger, even more focused, even more capable. And this is what separates you. Not the absence of difficulty, but the way you respond to it. You have learned how to use doubt as fuel, how to turn criticism into clarity, how to stay focused when no one believes in you, how to create results that speak for themselves. And these lessons stay with you. They become part of who you are. They shape how you think, how you act, how you move forward. This is your foundation. And it is strong. Stronger than any opinion. Stronger than any doubt. Stronger than any setback. Because it is built from experience, from effort, from persistence. As you look back on your journey, you may realize that the moments you once struggled with the most were the ones that shaped you the most. The moments of doubt. The moments of rejection. The moments when you felt like giving up. Those were not moments of weakness. They were moments of growth. And you moved through them. You did not stop. You did not give in. You continued. And that is what defines you. Not what you faced, but how you responded. You are not the person you were at the beginning of this journey. You have changed. You have grown. You have become stronger. And that strength will continue to carry you forward. As you move into what comes next, remember this. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need to meet anyone else's expectations. You do not need to seek approval. What you need is to continue. To stay committed. To keep building. To keep growing. Because your journey is yours. And it is far from over. There are still things to achieve. Still lessons to learn. Still versions of yourself to discover. And with everything you have built, everything you have learned, and everything you have become, you are ready. Ready to face what comes next. Ready to continue growing. Ready to step into your full potential. You are no longer defined by doubt. You are driven by purpose. You are no longer limited by opinions. You are guided by belief. You are no longer the person they once underestimated. You have become the person they didn't expect. And more importantly, you have become the person you were meant to be. Conclusion: let them doubt you, keep moving. There will always be voices. Some will support you. Some will question you. Some will doubt you openly, while others will do it quietly. No matter what path you choose, no matter how much effort you give, and no matter how far you go, those voices will exist. And for a long time, you may have believed they mattered more than they actually do. You may have slowed down because of them. You may have hesitated because of them. You may have questioned yourself because of them. But now, you understand something different. Their doubt does not determine your future. It never did. Your future is not built on opinions. It is built on persistence. It is built on belief. It is built on action. Everything you have learned throughout this journey points to one truth. You are in control of how far you go. Not them. Not their doubts. Not their expectations. You. There were moments when you felt uncertain. Moments when rejection made you question your path. Moments when criticism felt personal. Moments when you felt alone, like no one understood what you were trying to do. And yet you kept going. You chose to face doubt instead of being stopped by it. You chose to learn from rejection instead of being defined by it. You chose to grow through criticism instead of being weakened by it. You chose to stay focused even when no one believed in you. And in making those choices, you became stronger. You built something within yourself that cannot be easily shaken. You built resilience. You built discipline. You built self-belief. And those are the things that carry you forward. Not approval. Not recognition. Not external validation. But internal strength. This is what separates those who move forward from those who stay stuck. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is the decision to continue. To keep going, even when it is difficult. To stay committed, even when progress feels slow. To believe in yourself, even when others do not. Because success is not created in moments of ease. It is built in moments of resistance. It is built in the days when you do not feel like showing up, but you do. It is built in the times when doubt is loud, but you keep moving anyway. It is built in the consistency of your actions, not the intensity of your emotions. And over time, those actions create results. Results that speak. Results that show what you have built. Results that cannot be ignored. But those results do not come from trying to prove others wrong. They come from proving yourself right. They come from showing yourself that you can follow through. That you can stay disciplined. That you can keep going. And that belief becomes your foundation. It becomes the reason you continue. It becomes the reason you do not stop. As you move forward, there will still be doubt. There will still be opinions. There will still be moments where others question you. But now, you see it differently. You no longer take it personally. You no longer let it control your direction. You understand that doubt is part of the process. Not a signal to stop, but a reminder to stay focused. Because the path you are on is not meant to be easy. It is meant to challenge you. To grow you. To push you beyond what you once thought was possible. And every time you continue, despite the doubt, you become stronger. You become more focused. You become more certain of who you are and what you are capable of. This is your power. The ability to keep moving. The ability to stay committed. The ability to build something, regardless of what others think. You do not need everyone to believe in you. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need approval to move forward. What you need is belief in yourself. And that belief is something you have built. Through effort. Through persistence. Through the choices you have made along the way. It is yours. And no one can take it away from you. So as you step into what comes next, carry this with you. Let them doubt you. Let them question you. Let them underestimate you. Because while they are forming opinions, you are taking action. While they are watching from the outside, you are building from within. While they are deciding what you are capable of, you are proving it through your work. You do not need to respond to every doubt. You do not need to argue with every opinion. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. Focus on what matters. Your effort. Your consistency. Your growth. Because in the end, it is not what you say that defines you. It is what you do. And when you commit to doing the work day after day, regardless of the noise around you, something powerful happens. You create progress. You create results. You create proof. Proof that speaks louder than any opinion. Proof that shows what you are capable of. Proof that reflects your commitment, your discipline, and your belief. And when that proof becomes visible, the doubt around you begins to fade. Not because you changed their minds, but because your results made it impossible to ignore. But by that time, something even more important has happened. You no longer need their validation, because you have already built your own. You have already proven to yourself what you are capable of. You have already become someone who does not stop because of doubt. You have become someone who moves forward, regardless of it. And that is the ultimate goal. Not to silence every voice, but to become strong enough that those voices no longer control you. So keep moving. Keep building. Keep growing. Because your journey is still unfolding. And everything you have learned, everything you have built, and everything you have become is preparing you for what comes next. Let them doubt. You keep moving. Because in the end, your results will speak louder than any opinion ever could. Thank you for reading this book. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave us a review. TM Light. Disclaimer. This book was created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. While every effort was made to ensure the accuracy and relevance of the content, readers should note that this cannot be considered professional advice. Readers are encouraged to apply their own judgment and consult experts where needed.